Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, The Sean Davy Way Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in and tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you a surviving Katt Williams. Now, I know a lot of you are skeptical, got your eyebrow in the air, wondering like, okay, what is Sean doing? But I think just like everyone has a light side, everyone has a dark side, including myself. I think we all do things that we regret. I think we all do things that we frown upon. I don't think it's the mistake. I feel that it's how you correct it. Pretty much all comedians in existence give you a good glimpse of their private life because they add a lot of that into their stand-up, whether it's their family, whether it's their friends, whether it's jobs that they've had in the past. You get to know a lot about them in a short amount of time. When it comes to Katt Williams, we don't really know much besides surface level things. Now, I do not feel that Katt Williams nor any other celebrity owes us their background and what happened to them as they were coming up, their woes, their triumphs, their achievements. They don't owe that to us, but it is nice to hear it only because it helps the joke land. It helps the joke arrive home. Some people don't know where the punchline is within a joke or when the joke is ending and going into another one. That's why comedians give you a little backstory on what they're about to say before they say it. And sometimes they'll do it while they're about to set up their joke so that you can get it. But with Katt, besides talking about his adoptive children, we don't know much. So, without holding you any further, let's get to know Katt Williams, the dark side of the comedian. Katt Williams' real name is Micah Williams. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio on September 2nd, 1971. He was raised in Dayton, Ohio by Jehovah's Witnesses. He stated that he learned to read at 3 years old and was communicating in multiple languages, including French and Creole. During his childhood, he lived in Haiti for a year and a half on a religious mission trip with his parents. Williams emancipated himself from his parents at the tender age of 13 and moved to Florida. Though homeless and living in a park, he supported himself as a street vendor. He stated that he wanted to remain God's friend. Since at least 2016, Williams has stated on numerous occasions that he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps as a minor at the age of 16 and attended boot camp, and was subsequently discharged when his age was discovered. Katt started his career of stand-up comedy, which he started performing in Avondale neighborhood of Cincinnati. He honed his comedic delivery by performing his routine in clubs around the country and had become an established comic by 1999, appearing at the likes of the Improv, the Comedy Club, the Ice House, and Hollywood Park Casino. Most notably, he appeared on BET's Comic View as Katt in the Hat Williams. It was later confirmed by Williams that Dr. Seuss sued Williams because of the name Katt in the Hat. Williams starred in his first comedy special, Let a Play a Play, in 2006. His first HBO stand-up special came in 2006 with The Pimp Chronicles Part 1. In 2007, he co-wrote and starred as himself in the comedy film Katt Williams' American Hustle. The film had critical success and established Williams as a mainstream comedian. In 2008, he released his second HBO comedy special, It's Pimpin' Pimpin'. Keeping busy releasing comedy DVDs and touring, Williams had a comedy tour that was named the Best of 2008 by Billboard. After a 4-year hiatus, Williams returned to stand-up in 2012 for his third HBO special called Kattapocalypse. Later that year, one day after an incident at a Seattle bar in which he reportedly acted threatening and violent, then resisted arrest, landed him in jail, he announced the end of his stand-up comedy career. However, 3 days later, he announced he would not retire. 2 live performances in November 2012 ended early because of Williams' confrontational behavior. A November 1st performance at Wells Fargo Theater in Denver ended after he jumped off the stage to confront a heckler. Williams' November 16th performance at the Oracle Arena in Oakland ended after he engaged in a profanity-laced confrontation with a heckler. and was assisted off the stage by his own security. During late 2013, Williams was on the Growth Spurt tour. On August 16, 2014, he returned with a new HBO special called Katt Williams' Priceless Afterlife, which was directed by Spike Lee. In 2002, Williams made his acting debut on NYPD Blue on the 6th episode of its 10th season on October 29th. Williams is best known for his character Money Mike in the film Friday After Next in 2002. And he has played supporting characters in Norbit in 2007 and First Sunday 2008. He appeared to be in the official music video for Nick Cannon's single Gigolo in 2003. He next appeared as a regular on Wild 'N Out on MTV during its first 3 seasons. Katt has been in many films and also many TV shows, My Wife and Kids, Blackish, the list just goes on, movies as well. But did you know that Katt was in music? Williams has also used the stage name Money Mike when rapping for songs by such artists as Baby Bash, The Game, and Sugar Free. In 2006, he joined rapper Cameron's group, The Diplomats, but was never signed as an official artist for the label. On January 29, 2009, he released his debut studio live album, It's Pimpin' Pimpin'. On November 19, 2013, he and Hell Rell released a diss song to Atlanta rapper Trinidad James, entitled Lames in the Game, due to comments made by James about the state of the current hip-hop. I think it's important to explain everything about a person, showcase their talents, just like you're going to showcase the things that, again, they may not be as proud of. Katt Williams has had a lot of legal issues. He always seems to make it seem as if there's some type of conspiracy, people bothering him, people coming after him. But if you take the time and actually look at his charges, they all stem from Katt. This isn't anyone after him besides his inner demons. And we all, again, have a dark side. Let's get into Katt Williams. On November 13, 2006, Williams was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport after a weapon that had been reported stolen was found in his briefcase. On December 14th, he pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor count of carrying a concealed firearm and was sentenced to 3 years probation, ordered to pay restitution, and given credit for the 3 days he spent in jail. In November 2010, Williams was arrested by police while working on a film in Coweta County, Georgia. He was accused of stealing $3,500 worth of coins and jewelry. He was arrested the following day on a $40,000 bond. Police later charged him with burglary and criminal trespass. Side note, I just want you to keep in mind that these charges all stem with Katt. He was arrested in LA at the airport for having a weapon that was stolen. He was also arrested in Georgia for stealing $3,500 worth of expensive coins and jewelry and was released on a bond. So again, these are things that he actually did, not a random conspiracy theory that a lot of these celebrities that get in trouble often try to come up with to avert your attention. Don't look at me, look at the Illuminati. Don't look at me, look at Rock Nation. Don't look at me, blah, blah, blah. June 11th, 2011, Williams was arrested in connection with an alleged assault on a tractor driver. The alleged victim said 3 women approached his tractor at around 4:30 p.m. local time and attacked him with rocks and dirt clods, causing him facial injuries. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department officers arrived on the scene and arrested the 3 women for the assault with a weapon and arrested Williams for felony intimidation of a witness. He was booked into jail and released the same night on a $50,000 bail. On November 15, 2012, Williams was arrested in Oakland, California, on charges of suspicion of an assault with a weapon. He allegedly beaten an 18-year-old teenager with a bottle aboard Williams' tour bus in Berkeley, California. I note again, the police had proof that Katt Williams has sent these three women because they are people in his entourage. Katt Williams is surrounded by a lot of women, and you will hear that later on within this video. So once they had the proof that they needed, contacted the tractor driver, saw his injuries, they went and arrested the three women, and they also arrested Katt because they had proof that the altercation was between Katt and the tractor driver. It had nothing to do with the women. He sent the women to intimidate the witness. That happened. They did exactly that. What they wasn't counting on was them getting arrested after the tractor driver called the police. I assumed that the women felt that they put enough fear in the man to not contact police, and he did the exact opposite. In November 15, 2012, Williams being arrested for assaulting a 18-year-old aboard his tour bus is true. This young man states that Katt got angry with him during a little banter conversation that they had, and Katt took a bottle and went upside his head with it. So again, these aren't conspiracies. These are true. Katt did these things. Let's keep going. An attendee of Williams' shortened performance at the Oracle Arena in Oakland on November 16, 2012, filed a class action lawsuit days after the event, seeking compensation for himself and all the others who paid money for a show but got nothing but Katt Williams' non-performance. On December 2nd, 2012, Williams was arrested in Seattle after he allegedly got into a dispute at a bar in the South Lake Union neighborhood. His arrest came after he no-showed the first night of a planned two-night performance at a Paramount theater. 5 days later, he was arrested in Dunnigan, California, on a bench warrant arising from an incident the previous month in Sacramento, California, during which he allegedly drove a three-wheeled motorbike onto a sidewalk and refused to stop for police. The resulting chase was halted due to safety concerns, and the bench warrant was issued after Williams narrowly missed several bystanders. On January 8th, 2013, Williams was arrested at his Los Angeles home after failing to appear in Sacramento to answer the November 25th motorbike charges. On October 29th, 2014, Williams and Suge Knight were arrested for theft of a camera from a photographer in Beverly Hills on September 5th. In April 2017, Williams pled no contest to the charge of robbery and was ordered to undertake a year of anger management classes as well as receiving 3 years probation. Side note, so again, if he did nothing wrong, why are you pleading no contest to these charges? If the Illuminati is after you, if the Illuminati made you ride the three-wheeler, which they were stating that he was intoxicated while driving the three-wheeler and that he would not stop for police because he knew that they would breathalyze and sober test him. So he kept going. And in the process of trying to escape the police, he almost hit at least 6 to 7 people in the process on the sidewalk. He's on the sidewalk with a motorbike that goes as fast as a motorcycle. So somebody getting hit by one of those things is extremely dangerous. But Katt Williams, didn't feel the need to listen. And he also was arrested for getting into an altercation at a bar in South Lake Union when he was supposed to be preparing for a 2-night show that he had planned. So he was already a no-show for the first night, didn't show up, didn't come and shout out his fans, give him a little love, at least come on stage and do a few jokes and let him know that he's busy or that he's sick or whatever he has going on. He just completely ignores the audience, doesn't apologize, nothing like that, and then gets arrested for the second night of the performance. So he let his fans down more than once. He also gets arrested with Suge Knight because they stole a very expensive camera from a photographer in Beverly Hills. He also pleaded no contest to that as well. So he agreed with the judge that he did do it. He did steal the camera and he would face his penalty for what he had did. So again, if this is one of the richest men in the world, like Katt says he is, then why did you get arrested for stealing $3,500 in jewelry and coins? Why did you get arrested for stealing a camera? Like, none of this makes sense with Katt Williams coming forward doing the interview on Club Shay Shay, which we'll get into that, and also going on other podcasts trying to explain how he's been so rich. If you are, why steal? That doesn't make any sense, but let's keep going. On February 29th, 2016, Williams was arrested in Gainesville, Georgia, when a clerk at a swimming pool store said Williams had hit him. When police arrived, they found Williams already lying face down with his hands behind his back, waiting to be handcuffed. On March 23rd, 2016, a video went viral of the 44-year-old Williams getting into a fight with a 17-year-old boy following a dispute during a soccer game in Gainesville. The authorities plan to review the incident with the DA in addition to his ongoing court cases. Side note, Katt was lying face down on the ground awaiting to be arrested after putting his hands on the store clerk because they had it on camera. So there was no way that Katt could deny putting his hands on that man. We all saw the viral video of Katt Williams putting his hands on a teenage boy after a soccer game didn't go Katt's way. So again, is this the Illuminati? Are people after him? Is this a big conspiracy? Or is this just simply Katt Williams and his behavior? On April 27, 2016, Williams was arrested and charged with battery in Atlanta, Georgia, after allegedly throwing a salt shaker at a manager of a local restaurant. The manager claimed to have been hit in the mouth with a salt shaker when Williams' group was denied preferential seating. On July 24, 2016, Williams was arrested on suspicion of battery after an altercation with a woman at a Sportsman's Lodge, a hotel in Sherman Oaks, California. On September 15, 2016, Williams was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia, on a charge of second-degree criminal damage to property after having turned himself in on a warrant for failing to appear in court on April 27th. This new arrest involved an allegation on February 28, 2016, stating that Williams had thrown a man's cell phone. On October 6, 2018, Williams was arrested in Portland, Oregon, on a charge of assault in the fourth degree after he assaulted a driver during an argument about his dog. He was additionally arrested on an outstanding warrant from Georgia. Yeah, as far as I see, all of these charges are self-inflicted. They aren't people after him, the Illuminati, this big conspiracy theory. No, not at all. It's just Katt has just made a lot of bad decisions. And that's not even all of Katt's charges. Before we get into more, let's get into Katt's personal life. Williams has 10 children consisting of 3 biological and 7 adopted children. Williams is a Christian and is often wearing a cross during his shows as a symbol of his faith, though he briefly joined the Nation of Islam while in Oakland, California. Katt Williams was previously married to Quadira Locus, but the marriage ended in divorce. While he has had other relationships, he has not been formally married since. In addition to his biological son, Micah, and a biological daughter named Renika, Williams has adopted several other children. He is the father to 10 kids in total. Speaking of Katt Williams being a father of 10, 7 of those children being adopted, his brother Steve Williams has recently came out on TashaKLive.com. Make sure you go check it out or download the app to watch the entire interview of Stephen Williams, Katt's brother. He has a lot to say. One of the things that he states is that one of Katt Williams' adopted children is now deceased, that the young man named Malik Jones passed away at 15 years old. I find that interesting because Katt Williams has not publicly spoke on what has happened to the son, nor has stated any type of grievances or that he's hurting and or in pain. Again, Katt does not owe us anything. He does not owe us this information. But being a comedian and speaking on certain people before, meaning he's put Malik in his stand-up comedy routines before. So why not speak on him at all after said comedy routines? I do have a theory. If you want to hear it, here it goes. Katt Williams' brother, Stephen, states that with the receipt, which is right here on the screen, that Malik Jones passed away when he was 15, and he was also pretty much a ward of the state. He was living in a hospital setting and passed away in the hospital setting at 15 years old. He passed Malik in 2014. 2 years prior to that, guess what happened? This is a completely separate charge from all of the charges we read earlier. Get into this. And this is just my theory, but get into it. On December 28, 2012, Williams was arrested in Los Angeles on child endangerment charges. He was held in lieu of $100,000 bail, and 4 of his adopted children were placed in protective custody. According to the reports, the case fell apart and no trial was scheduled. Theory is Child Protective Services took Malik out of the home and did not give Malik back. Again, 4 of the adoptive children that were present at the time were removed out of Katt Williams' home. Malik, again, was one of those children. The hospital setting threw me off because I felt like, okay, well, why would Katt just throw his kid into the hospital setting when it's alleged that Malik was not the only child that suffered from a mental diagnosis? So it led me to do research. If Malik passed away in the hospital setting, why was he there? Why did he not get a chance to reunite back with Katt Williams? Because Katt didn't put him there, allegedly. I believe CPS put Malik in that type of care facility because when they came to where Katt lived, they didn't feel that the place was suitable for Malik to be staying at, that it was too dangerous for him to be living there. And let me show you why. Comedian Katt Williams was arrested Friday for allegedly endangering his children. Police say multiple weapons were found at the home of the 41-year-old entertainer, whose birth name is Michael Sarah Williams. He was arrested on suspicion of child endangerment and possession of a stolen firearm, the Los Angeles Times reported. Williams was released on a $100,000 bail Friday and later asked TMZ rhetorically, "How do you keep kids safe without weapons?" The arrest came after the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services completed a welfare check of his home and discovered the weapons, one of which police say had been reported stolen. The agency did not specify how many children were living there or whether they had been removed, though TMZ reports indicate 4 of his children were placed in protective custody Friday. The incident was the latest in a series of recent legal troubles for the comedian. Earlier this month, Williams was arrested in Northern California on a previous warrant related to reckless driving and evading officers. In November, a former personal assistant sued him for more than $5 million for allegedly striking her. Side note, that's a whole nother situation about the former personal assistant. She also had Katt Williams arrested. We'll talk about that in part 2, but right now let's keep going. It's already a lot of information. In October, he and Live Nation were hit with a lawsuit claiming a show he performed in Oakland lasted just 10 minutes and developed into comedian stripping off his clothes and attempting to fight with the audience members. Side note, so there was a wellness check done on the children because someone, they had to have been close to Katt, felt that the children weren't safe. In my opinion, I think somebody came over to visit, saw the condition of the home, saw weapons laying around everywhere. You see these young minor children that are around these weapons, maybe even saw one of them touch it or be near it at one point in time. And I think that it scared whoever saw it, whether it was a family member, friend, somebody that worked for Katt. They had CPS come and do a welfare check. CPS finds the weapons as they're walking through the home. So it's not like CPS is walking through opening drawers and cabinets and looking under beds and closets. They're not doing any of that. They more so just do a walkthrough to see how the living situation is, whether there's a lot of filth, whether there is no clothes, whether there's no food, things like that is what they are paying attention to. And they're also going to pay attention to anything that could hurt or harm any of the children in the home. And just having random weapons laying out, and to add insult to injury, one of the weapons that you do have here that is not safely concealed and put away is stolen. We have a problem here. Every child that was in the home at that point in time was removed. And allegedly, it was the 4. Malik was one of those children. And that happened in 2012. And Malik passed away in 2014, allegedly inside of a hospital facility. So this is what makes me think that CPS placed Malik, not Katt Williams. Since it never went to trial, it made me go look it up. What happened? What happens when there is no trial and there's not enough data to move forward? In most cases, it's the parent or guardian decides to give up parental rights. So the reason this didn't go further and other charges were brought about was because, in my opinion, from what I'm gathering, looking into the law there in California, that Katt willingly gave up his rights to all four adopted kids. And with his brother, Stephen Williams, coming forward stating, how do you find a kid that's been adopted multiple times? That didn't necessarily make sense to me. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean adopted multiple times? That would make complete sense. If someone else was in the process of adopting Malik, this happened in 2012. Malik passed away in 2014. So I believe that whoever was trying to adopt Malik was in the process, but he may have passed away before everything finalized because it does take time. It's not an overnight thing. And if he was in the facility of a state hospital, when the rights were given up, technically Malik would have become a ward of the state in California. So the hospital would have had rights or guardianship over Malik until that was taken care of by law. So in court with someone coming in and taking Malik underneath their wing. So this may have hurt Katt to another level because he not only dropped the ball with raising this child that he willingly adopted, but he lost him to the state and he passed away during the process. So that is a really painful blow. You lose your kid, and then in the process of losing your kid, they pass away. Wow, that could hurt. And I can understand why he may have not spoke on it because it just may be too painful to talk about. So it seems as if Stephen is telling the truth about this situation. As far as I know, unless Katt comes out and says something different or shows something different, this adds up. And it does make sense that Malik would have been adopted multiple times if Katt gave up his parental rights after being charged with child endangerment charges by leaving weapons out around children during a welfare check with Child Protective Services. And to clarify, because I know we have a lot of skeptics, Katt Williams' last name is Williams. It's always been Williams. He's never changed his last name to Jones. Malik's last name was Jones, okay? Malik was adopted before Katt, and then Katt adopted him. So when Katt did adopt him, he changed his last name, but he did not change it to Williams, which is, again, Katt Williams' last name, okay? Micah Williams. He already has a junior, his biological son. His name is Micah, and he has a daughter. So again, Malik was adopted multiple times. And with Malik being a ward of the state, they would issue him a social worker. So that social worker would act as guardian for him through the hospital and or state until he was adopted. But he allegedly passed away in 2014, meaning the last name he had was with the last family he was with, which was Katt Williams. When you adopt, you can change the last name right then and there. If Katt didn't change Malik's last name to Williams, he did it for a reason. Still, I digress. Let's keep going. I question you, is this a conspiracy? Is this the Illuminati? Or is this just simply Katt Williams? He stated out of his own mouth when he got caught after the child endangerment charges is that how do you protect children without weapons? So he is admitting it like, yeah, there were just random weapons laying around and whatnot. And he has children in the home, not a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds, 16, 17-year-olds, no, kids, 10, 11-year-olds, walking around that home. Anything could happen. And then you have stolen weapons here too. I never thought it was a good idea for someone like Katt Williams to adopt if you're not married. If you don't have a strong relationship or a strong marriage, I don't think that's something you should be doing when you're so busy. Why adopt all these kids and bring them to your home and they barely see you or rarely see you? What is the point of doing that when, again, everyone needs a good home. And I think it's a great idea that Katt wanted to adopt and give children a home. I think it stems from him being 13 and wanting somebody to do the same thing for him after he left his family's home, which, let's get into that. Katt Williams' brother, Stephen Williams, had selected things to say about Katt Williams' upbringing that Katt Williams hasn't necessarily divulged himself, but kind of alluded to. So let's get into that. Everyone knows Sean Davy is a huge Katt Williams fan. Check my track record. This is why a lot of people respect my commentary, because I am not afraid to go there with my wannabe heroes, if you will. I love Beyonce, but I've told the truth about her. Even the rumors and stuff that have been out there, we've attacked all those things. The good side of Beyonce we've talked about, and we've also talked about the dark side of Beyonce. It's the same thing here. Katt Williams has a good side, and he has a dark side. Katt lies often. As much as he tells the truth, he also lies, and we're going to get into some of those lies. Earlier in the video, I told you this. Williams stated on numerous occasions that he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps as a minor at the age of 16, attended boot camp, and was subsequently discharged when his age was discovered. But I didn't tell you this part. However, in a CBS News investigation, the Marine Corps stated that there was no record of Williams having ever served in the military or attended any Marine training facilities. Katt Williams is 5'5". That's hard to forget and hard to miss. Something like that would definitely stand out. No one has a record of Katt Williams ever joining any type of military corps, rather Navy, Army. They have no record of him, and I believe them. There has been other people that have lied about their age and tried to get into the military early and sent to certain boot camps, and certain information is found out when they get there. This is not Katt's story, because they still document you. They would have figured out what Katt's real name was. They would have figured out where he was from. They would have figured out where his family was, and they would have contacted set people, and what that would have happened. It's not like this was the 1820s or the 1910s to where a lot of stuff could have been easily under the radar. No, this happened at a time to where the computers and everything were up to date enough to keep track of anybody that has tried to be in the Army, even if they used a fake name or like their big brother's information with their brother's identification card and stuff like that. There's ways of tracking and figuring that out. They have no record of Katt Williams in their database, and I believe them, which makes Katt Williams a liar. It does not matter how many times he repeats this, it is a lie. Katt Williams also stated that he emancipated himself from his parents at the age of 13 and moved to Florida. We all should have known that that was a lie right out the gate. You cannot emancipate yourself from your parents. It's the other way around. That's why I said during the Club Shay Shay interview, he confused me. Because I'm saying, hey, you know you can't emancipate yourself. The only thing you can do as a minor without being emancipated by your parents is run away. So I always looked at Katt as a runaway. No, you ran away from your parents' home at 13. Whether they knew you were leaving or not, you are still classified as a runaway because your parents are responsible for you until age 18. So any trouble you would have got into or anything that would have happened, your parents would have still been held liable. And Katt running away, or his parents allowing him to run away, is a child endangerment charge. By letting your child hitchhike, because that's what Katt did, how he got down there. All of that is endangering. So there's all type of charges that could have been pulled up on his parents for that. So for them to let him leave and for him to leave and not return, that gave something happened. And it gives that Katt was at fault. Katt Williams' brother, Stephen Williams, comes forward on Unwind with Tasha K on TashaKLive.com. So you have to go there if you would like to check out the interview in its entirety. TashaKLive.com. Stephen states that Katt Williams was kicked out of their home as a 13-year-old for what he was doing to his 5-year-old brother, which was Stephen. In my opinion, makes more sense than what Katt Williams was stating. Stephen Williams is alluding that Katt Williams, his older brother, was SAing him as a 5-year-old boy. And Katt Williams was 13 at the time. Now, this is a very sensitive topic. These are two minor boys, and allegedly some things went down that weren't supposed to be. It will make sense that in a very religious home that they lived in, being Jehovah's Witnesses, if something like that was happening, for a removal to happen. Now, we do feel that that's a little drastic for it to be happening to a 13-year-old, but it is what it is. I feel that Katt Williams doesn't like talking about his childhood because of a lot of trauma. And some of that trauma he may have caused himself. Trauma isn't just on one end, which would be accepting it or it happening to you. Sometimes we cause trauma upon people as well. And that could be a reason that a person avoids having certain conversations or talking about certain things if that's not who they are, and the mistake that they made, they would never do again, especially knowing what it means and knowing that it's wrong, and then may having a different perception on it as a younger child, but as an adult, you know better. So knowing that, and knowing that a person isn't going to necessarily forgive you for it, because sometimes when people hear information in that regard, they kind of always look at the person that way, or suspect, or other things in their life be questioned, like adopting these children. Was he doing anything to the children, etc. Can truly open a door that you can never close. So even as a victim yourself, and speaking on how you may have victimized, people will look at you victimizing more than they will give you sympathy for being a victim. So it's a door a lot of people don't even want to approach, let alone open, because they know what the energy will give and how people's minds are so easily swayed to villainize a person before listening to the person. Speaking of Katt Williams lying, Katt Williams on the Club Shay Shay interview, he stated that he wrote the majority of his role as Money Mike on Friday After Next. He also stated that Ice Cube wanted him to write Last Friday, which would have been the next installment after Friday After Next. Katt Williams also super insulted Ricky Smiley throughout the Club Shay Shay viral interview as well. He made it seem as if Ricky Smiley's part was so insignificant and that Ricky Smiley did a lot of complaining about his face not being able to be shown, etc. Katt Williams made it seem as if he was more so of a boss on set, more of the writers. He had a lot to do with what was happening with the movie in its entirety and Money Mike. Although Money Mike was a breakout character, meaning Money Mike had the same amount of time on the camera as the Santa did, which Ricky Smiley played. Money Mike, that role was expanded due to improv, and we will get into that. But before we do, let's listen to Ice Cube. If you make someone as peaceful as Ice Cube have to come out and speak, that lets me know that you are a liar. Ice Cube does it in the most kind way and states that there are discrepancies inside of Katt's story versus to calling him a liar. But it is the same thing. Saying someone is having discrepancies versus someone lying. I look at it the same way. I look at it as Ice Cube coming forward to say, hey, let me correct a lot of the lies that he came out here and said, because Katt Williams had the biggest role of the movie because he broke out, meaning an unexpected player coming through and dominating the game. That is all that happened in the movie Friday After Next. Not him having creative control or being a writer. None of that happened. The role was already written before Katt Williams even came on set. Like, all of that stuff was taken care of, okay? Ice Cube wrote the entire movie. Friday, next Friday, and Friday After Next. Let's get into Ice Cube.
just wanted to address a few things. You know, everybody been checking out the internet. My man Katt Williams. You know, first of all, I just want to say, you know, we shot that movie over 20 years ago. So, you know, people have different perspectives, and it's been a long time. I also want to say, you know, every comedian that I've worked with, every comedian that I've put in a movie, I only put them in the movie because I thought they was funny. I thought they was perfect for the part. I tried to put them in a position to win. That's what it's all about, you know. I don't, you know, I look at from, you know, Chris Tucker and Bernie Mac and Mike Epps, Katt Williams, you know, Ricky Smiley, Michael Blackson, Cedric, Kevin Hart. You know, all these guys I know are funny as hell. You know, I didn't discover them. You know, they were doing their stand-up or doing their thing, and I knew that they were great and that they could act, and that you know, if I have an opportunity, I was gonna give them an opportunity. You know, to me, that's what it's all about. You know, as far as, you know, specific things, you know, Katt was 100 on a few things. Most of what he was saying, a couple things, you know, I just want to clarify. When we bring in a new, you know, comedian, we do have them try out for different roles. So Ricky did give Money Mike a shot. But when we saw him and, you know, we kind of saw how he moved and how he was, you know, auditioning, we decided that he would be a better, you know, Santa Claus, which was, to me, the perfect casting. When we saw Mike, damn, I call him Money Mike. When we saw Katt, you know, when I saw him, I just knew that he was perfect for Money Mike. And, you know, Katt, you know, said he wrote his role, which, I mean, the role was written, but he enhanced it. This is why Katt was so dope in the movie. You know, Money Mike had a small role, you know, about as big as the Santa Claus role, but when we start filming, he was giving us such magic that we kept expanding his role and giving him more to do because he was on point. You know, when we shoot these movies, you know, for one, the scripts are fire, or they wouldn't even do it. The scripts are laugh out funny. But we shoot the script, but once we get what we need from the script, we let the comedians ad-lib, riff, you know, play with the words, do their thing. You know, we give them a take where they can, or 2, 3 takes where they can go off and do what they feel. You know, sometimes it makes the movie, sometimes it don't. You know, when somebody gives you jewels, you want to try to make sure that makes the movie. So in the movie, there's second thing I want to clear up. It was never, I would never shoot a rape scene in a movie, especially like Friday, where you actually see this happening on camera. That ain't my style. If you check out any of my movies, they not raunchy. You know, we did a movie called Players Club where the subject matter was a little raunchy, but for the most part, even that, we left it to your imagination. So the only reason that kind of stuff was in the movie is because you have 3 villains in Friday After Next. You have Santa Claus stealing presents. You have Damon, just got out of prison. sweating, Craig and Day for the rent money. And then you have Money Mike, a pimp that treats his woman, like a property. So Craig is always fighting the villains in the movie, from the Joker brothers to Debo. And so we already had Craig fighting Santa Claus. And the only real way to get rid of the other two villains was to have them go against each other. And the plier joke was always in the script. It was never, we would never ever show that. That's not my style if you look at any of my movies. So, that was never a discussion. We, at that point in everybody's career, we would listen to a certain extent, but we wasn't gonna change the movie for any actor. We do what we feel, and if it was a rape scene, it would have been in the movie. There was no reason not to shoot it. But that's not my style. I don't even like that kind of shit in movies, on camera. And so, that was, to me, a little discrepancy there. Katt, he wrote a lot of his part because, like I said, he was giving us jewels, so we were keeping the camera rolling. He was coming off the dome. He was coming prepared every day to steal the show. That was his mission. And, that's what he did, with the movie. And it launched his career, And I'm proud of the movie. I'm proud of all the guys who've, come through, Acute Vision Production and went on to do bigger and better things. And look, a lot of people are talking about pay and how much they was paid on these movies that were extremely low budget. Most of these guys work a couple of days, and when you're doing a movie, there's over 100 people working on the movie that need to get paid. Most of them got to get paid every day. And there's pre-production and post-production. Even after you finish with the actors, you got to pay editors and sound people. And my movies are all about quality. So most of the money go up on the screen. I'm not giving you no bullshit. I'm not giving you no low budget, shit you can laugh at because it's so cheap. So, we try to put all the money on the screen. And so any actor that's mad at what they got paid, just look at what you was doing. Look at where your career was at the time. Take a look at where it is now. And Friday has something to do with that, I believe. And I put a lot of people in movies, but they ain't never put me in a movie. So you could take that for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? I've given a lot of these guys opportunities. And I still act, so I'm waiting for a call. I ain't got to produce everything or write everything. I got love for all the comedians that I've worked with. Got, much love for Katt. He spoke up for me a lot. And I just wanted to be clear and clarify some things. And
Williams said in the Club Shay Shay interview that the Money Mike scene of him getting R-worded, that he had that scene removed. He also stated that Ricky Smiley was so insignificant with his role because Katt Williams had wrote it that way. I made it so that his role was smaller. I made it so that I was the dominant character. No. In most comedic movies, the directors let the actors improv. They will give them the same script that was written prior, and they'll let them play with it. So if you're doing a scene and the scene is really funny and you let the person kind of just playfully go with it, just feel the flow, just go ahead, just whatever you feel right now, just do. and they do it and it is hilarious, then they will keep it in the movie. There's so many movies that happens in Harlem Nights, Wedding Crashers, Bridesmaids. I mean, the list just goes on to where a lot of improv is done to where they will keep it and or expand the role of someone that they find extremely funny. So that's what happened here with Money Mike. Katt Williams was magic. He was extremely funny. And when they would let him improv a lot of his lines just to play around, they ended up keeping. So it's all freestyle. Katt didn't write any of that down. They did not add anything that Katt wrote down into the script. No, simply improv. Katt doing what was already written and then adding to it. So they may say Katt go into the bathroom and then reach for the vice scripts and whatnot. So Katt reaches for the vice scripts, but when he grabs them and grabs, Terry Crews by, the undercarriage, if you will, and then he starts saying pimpin', saying things like that. Like, you know what, let's keep that. Or they just let him go with the flow. And as he did, they just like, yeah, let's rock out with this. But, we should do this too. And then add the character throughout the movie more. That is what happened. Not Katt sitting down with the writers and the team and the directors and the producers saying, this should be like this and that should be like that. That is why Kevin Hart and other comedians have gotten bigger roles and have done other movies that Katt could have done himself, because he's always trying to come in and change something. If the changes are minor, then a lot of times the writers and producers and the director will work with you. But when you're coming in trying to change the whole script or trying to change what the character is, you're coming in, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that he says this, I don't like that he wears this and this, that. Then they're just like, yeah, okay, that's fine, thanks. And they will go and find someone that will tweak the character still, but doing it in a way that's more manageable, that works with the team. And my opinion of Katt Williams is being very narcissistic. So I don't feel that he has any wiggle room. It's either do it this way or we're not going to do it. So it's not them choosing the Kevin Harts over Katt Williams because he's turning down these roles. It's them choosing the Kevin Harts and the Mike Epps and all of these other great entertainers over him because he is hard to work with. That is all that is saying. Ice Cube is stating, look at here, I done worked with a lot of y'all and I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all are all lit. I didn't discover any of y'all. Y'all were already out here doing y'all thing. But at the same time, don't make it seem like you wrote my movie. Don't make it seem like you wrote the character Money Mike. Katt took the character Money Mike. That is Ice Cube's brainchild, not Katt Williams. Katt Williams was Cat in the Hat. He wasn't pimping, none of that stuff before Ice Cube. When he was on the Comic View in 1999 and all of that, he had a whole different sleaze. He was trying to steal from Dr. Seuss at the time and be Cat in the Hat. Nothing about being a pimp or a bishop or none of that at the time. Money Mike birthed the pimp in Katt Williams, and he ran with it because that was his breakout role. That's what made him mainstream to where people were considering him, offering him movie deals, offering him stand-up specials. Money Mike birthed all of that. So again, Ice Cube gave you a rare opportunity and helped create this star that was already there. Like Ice Cube said, I didn't discover you, but I did upgrade you, if anything. So shout out to Ice Cube for that. Ice Cube also states, none of these people that I put in movies that come forward and complain have put me in movies. Katt Williams has done many movies. When he did the American Pimp movie and all of that, he didn't involve Ice Cube. He didn't ask Ice Cube to come direct or produce or star in, none of that stuff. So it's weird how these people will talk about these situations with legends like Ice Cube and take credit where it is not due. He should have been happy that he got the opportunity for his role to be expanded, because that is a blessing that his role got expanded to where now he can look down on people like Ricky Smiley and be like, oh yeah, if not for me, you wouldn't have this, or I made your role small. Like, no, you didn't do any of that stuff. You just lucked up and snagged a great opportunity. You did what you needed to do. You showed the talent. It was worth it in the long run. And you ate. Not you were controlling Ricky or you've had part in his demise and his decline of being as popular of a comedian as yourself. This is part one. I hope y'all come and watch part two. We have so much more to discuss. And again, I love Katt Williams. I really do. But I'm a firm believer in showing both sides of people. So we will continue this. This is just the edge of the cookie. We have not even fully taken a real bite of this cookie yet, but I hope you are enjoying what you are hearing thus far. Know that this is all backed with receipts. I'm not just out here making speculation or anything like that. Again, everything in this video is alleged and just theories from information that has been found on the public web. Absolutely. Shout out to Tasha K, shout out to Stephen Williams, and also shout out to Katt Williams. Shout out to all of you lovely people. And I love the audience. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next video, I love you all. Bye.